Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. Hope you guys are doing well today. In this video, we're going to be looking at the other class Covenant Legendaries that have been added or being added in 9.1. Before we get into the video, I just want to say and preface this with it is PTR. Things can change. These are just first iterations of these. So yeah, let's have a look at what they are. Now, I am doing this as arms at the moment because I was just having a look at something. We're going to start with Glory. Now, Glory is the Necrolord legendary. It's Conqueror's Banner, which is the Mastery Banner, affects one additional ally, and every 20 rage you spend while it's active increases the duration of your banner by 0.5 seconds. Now, brilliant. It gives utility. This would be a very, very good second legendary for warriors. Mainly prot warriors, I would say. They kind of need reprisal in Mythic Plus. They kind of want wall in raids. This would be a very nice secondary legendary. It's not a very good primary legendary because it doesn't do anything for you. I mean, don't get me wrong, you get the banner effects, but that's just a cooldown. You would get that anyway. All this does is slightly increase the duration of the banner. So, yeah, I think this is an interesting one, but not a very good primary legendary. I think we are potentially, this is Blizzard leading us up to having one main legendary and one Covenant legendary later down the line, and I think that could be a really cool idea, and something I'm going to discuss in another video later on. But yeah, I think if that's the case, this is potentially going to be used, but at the moment this will not be touched. Now let's look at the Night Fae one. So there isn't a Kyrian one for warriors yet, unfortunately. So let's look at the Night Fae one. Ancient Aftershock's duration is increased by 3 seconds, and enemies hit take 713 nature damage over 6 seconds, stacking 6 seconds. Wow, that's stacking 6 times. So if you stack them in it, it's going to tick up, and they're just going to get a huge dot on them. That's insane. That's going to be so much damage. It does so much damage already that, yeah, I think this is going to be crazy for Fury. I don't know how good it will be for Prot and Arms. Well, if it stacks with Wallbreaker, this could be incredible. So Nature's Fury looking very, very, very good. I'd have to see what the numbers are like in terms of balance, but I think Nature's Fury is a contender at the moment. And oh my lord, potentially the most broken legendary going to be added in the next patch. Sinful Surge. Condemn extends the duration of Colossus Smash, this is for arms, by 1.5 seconds. Now you think how much you use Condemn? You're going to have perma Colossus Smash up for like the first half of a fight, like for like 50% of a fight. For the first 30% and the last 30%, you're going to have Colossus Smash up. Like, that's incredibly powerful. What? I think this is a little bit busted, and I think we're going to see a lot of usage out of it. For Fury Warriors, Condemn extends the duration of Recklessness by 2 seconds. So you think Recklessness is already a low cooldown ability with quite high power. This is just going to increase the duration and allow it to keep going and going and going and going. Again, very, very strong. And for Prot Warriors, it increases the duration of Last Stand by 2 seconds, which is interesting because Last Stand's such a long cooldown. But all in all, yeah, I think this is a very, very, very powerful legendary for warriors. So if you are a warrior, tell me what you think. So moving on then to the rogue legendary effects. Now, I'm not a massive fan of rogue, so I'm going to just take these with a pinch of salt. Ultimately, I can look at them and kind of guess what they do, but I'm not going to be a massive kind of expert. So, Toxic Onslaught, your ability to use from stealth while Sepsis is active grants you one of Shadowblade to Adrenaline. Wow, okay, what? So, at the end of Sepsis, you go into stealth and you can use an ability from stealth, like Garrote or Ambush or whatever. This is going to give you either Shadowblade, Adrenaline Rush, or a Vendetta. Wow, what? That's crazy. I wonder if it's spec specific. So let's do... No, it doesn't say it's spec specific. Okay, so that's crazy. When I say spec specific, I mean as Assassination, is it going to apply Vendetta? As Outlaw, is it going to apply Adrenaline Rush? Or as Outlaw, are you going to be able to get Shadowblades or Vendetta? Because that could be crazy. Very interesting. rogues have some weird legendaries anyway, and like they're not overly strong, so maybe this does have a place for a couple of the different specs. Yeah, let's have a look at the next one. So flagellation now also increase your versatility by 1%. Each combo point spent while flagellation is active decreases cooldown by 1 second. So this is the one that gives you a haste buff when you like finish it. So it's also going to give you a versatility, and it's going to reduce the cooldown of it by quite a lot. This would be good for PvP, I think. I think there was a use of this in PvP. I think this is a very PvP heavy thing. I'm not sure this would get used in PvE. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I know of rogues, I think this is a PvP one more so than anything. Death Spike has 2 additional charges and hits 2 additional enemies. So you can be able to cleave with Serrated Bone Spike. You want high Mythic Plus then, potentially, because you're going to want long cleave. You don't want like burst cleave, because it doesn't do that much damage early. It needs to stack up a little bit. So potentially this is interesting. Haven't really played around with Necrolord Rogue. I've played both Venthyr and Night Fae, but I haven't really played around with Necrolord, so I think that could be quite interesting. But yeah, it's definitely very certain times, certain scenarios that would be good in. Let's move on to, as Priest got any? Priest hasn't got any. I know Death Knight does. The Death Knight has 3 out of 4. So the strength gained from Death's Dew is increased by 1% and persists for 2 seconds longer. While standing within your Death's Dew, your runic power generation is increased by 20%. Okay, so this is like the Death and Decay effect for Death Knights. So it increases the strength gained, and it lasts longer. I think this is just going to buff that. I'm not sure how much play this is going to get, to be honest. We'll see. Insatiable Hunger. So Venthyr, when Swarming Mist ends, it deals 1,326 shadow damage to 5 nearby enemies and heals you for 25% of the damage dealt. The damage increase for every 1 runic power spent. Well, okay, so that's going to be able to hit for quite a lot and heal you for a fair bit. Maybe Blood would see some benefit out of this in Mythic Plus. So I think, if I remember rightly, Swarming Mist is quite a low cooldown. Let's have a look. So what's interesting about this one is that Swarming Mist in itself, so it's a 1 minute cooldown. Swarming Mist in itself gives you 3 runic power like every second, up to 15 runic power. So you're already going to be able to boost it up to like 30% increased damage, plus any runic power you had. I think this could make for like quite nice AoE burst windows. Certainly interesting. I don't know how this sits in relation to the other legendaries though. And Abomination's Frenzy. Abomination Limb's duration is increased by 4 seconds. The frequency it grants X is increased by 2 seconds. Let's have a look what X is. Okay, so what's interesting here is that the X is Bone Shield charges for Bloods, which would be 3 charges every 4 seconds. Rhyme, which is your Obliterate crit, I believe, or your Howling Blast crit every 4 seconds, or Runic Corruption every 4 seconds. That's pretty crazy, actually. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. Additionally, enemies pulled by Abomination then take 10% increased damage for you for 12 seconds. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, because it's already very strong. It already gives like a lot of strength and things like that as well, because it's Necrolord. I think this is quite cool, actually. I think it's quite a cool one. There's one chamois one, okay. Each additional lightning bolt generated by Primordial Wave increases your haste by 5%. So this is for Elemental. I'm going to presume that would be the same thing for Healing Wave for Resto. Each additional Healing Wave generated by Primordial Wave. Okay. This is quite cool, but I don't think it'll get played. There's just too many other legendaries for Resto and Elemental that are almost necessary, and Enhancement doesn't play Necro anyway. Okay. I know Mage has a couple. Okay, so we've got Harmonic Echo. Damage dealt to enemies affected by Radiant Spark's vulnerability echo to 4 nearby enemies for 25% of the damage dealt. Okay, so it's just going to do a little bit more AoE damage. It's pretty simple, basic. Death's Fathom. Now, this is quite a cool one. I actually had a look at this one earlier. Your Fireball, Frostbolt, and Arcane Blast have a chance to grant Deathborn for 8 seconds, while in the form of a Skeleton Mage, the spell damage granted is increased by 1% for each enemy hit by Fireball, Frostbolt, or Arcane Blast. So basically, if you just keep pumping out Frostbolts in that time, you're going to do a lot of damage. Arcane Blast is the same. And what's interesting for Arcane is it turns that proc into like a burn window for you. So I can actually see this getting used. Bearing in mind, Arcane Mages at the moment, I've been looking into them for potentially maining one for next patch. Arcane Mages, I believe, are using Temporal Warp. Well, that doesn't... You can't use that all the time, because sometimes you just don't pop Time Warp to like 20%, so it's useless. So potentially something like this could see play. And Sinful Delight. Consuming Clearcast reduces Mirrors of Torment cooldown by 3 seconds. If Mirrors of Torment cooldown is dispelled, the cooldown is reduced by 45 seconds. So the Clearcast part is the PvE part. The Dispel is the PvP, because we don't get Dispels in PvE. But actually, this is really interesting, because Mirrors of Torment I was already looking into is quite a strong ability anyway, especially for Frost. And yeah, I mean, this is quite interesting. Let's have a look what the cooldown is. So this actually has some really big synergy with Arcane, because when you consume one of the mirrors as Arcane, you gain clearcasting. Which means if you consume all 3 mirrors, you're going to get 3 lots of clearcasting, which is 9 seconds of cooldown, immediately off a 1.5 minute cooldown. I think this is really interesting, actually. Yeah, maybe when we see, because like I said, Arcane uses Temporal Warp, and sometimes it's just not viable. Because, like I said, you look at a boss like Sire, actually. Sire, you go through almost the entire fight not using Time Warp or Bloodlust or whatever until the last phase. Well, you don't really get benefit out of this legendary then. So, yeah, I think it's certainly interesting. I think I quite like this one. And for PvP, it has a PvP effect as well, which is quite cool. I think that might be all of them. Let's have a look. Monk. I'm not sure Demon Hunter has any. Doesn't look like it. So that's all of them that have been added at the moment. There's certainly some interesting ones there. There's certainly some that just won't see use. There's another video I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to record it today. I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out yet. That's going to talk about just legendaries in the expansion in general. Definitely check that out if you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll talk soon. Catch you later, guys. Thanks for watching.